Okay, hi guys. Once again, I am going to do a little demo on what to do when you have 30 or 40 images that you need to fit into a 5 megabyte PDF. Now we're going to start with a PDF that Devin Warner submitted to us here. I'll show you this file really quick. It's, as you can see, it is 25 megabytes. Which is much too large. And you can also see that the images are rotated, all different sizes. They're not trimmed. They're very hard to see. They're very gray. It's just not a professional looking submission, and one that can be greatly improved and improve your overall score as well. Alrighty then. So what I've had to do is take apart your PDF and turn all of your images into JPEGs. So I've done that already. I might take my little open this out in a now I am using a Mac, so you'll just have to bear with it. Macintosh is awesome. And I'm going to open up all of the JPEGs already converted from the PDF file. You should be saving your images as you photograph them. You should be saving them only as JPEGs. That's the way you can control the size and the quality. And they're coming in all winky wonky, sideways, upside down, and backwards. Not so great. And they're also coming in with a grid, but that's all right. We'll deal with that. So the first problem is, of course, these are way too big. You can see that that's 33% on my screen, which means that if we look at the image size, you get to that by going in Photoshop, image size. It is 3,000 pixels by almost 2,000 pixels. The limit on the recommended sizing for your files is 1,000 in the longest direction. So make sure you have constrained proportions on and change that width to 1,000. You can do this at any time in the process. I'm going to actually do some adjustments to the image itself before I change the size. So we will undo this size. The first thing we're going to do is rotate it upright. Image rotation, 90 degrees counterclockwise. Now it's upright. When you take your photograph, back up a little bit further. When you draw, you should be using charcoal for these first couple of exercises. And then after that, you can use whatever you like. But I would prefer that you do the quick sketches with charcoal. You get a much better, deeper line, more contrast, much more flow. It just looks better for fast gesture drawing. It should be done in either charcoal or ink. Graphite really is not sufficient. Also, I've noticed that on some of your images, if you're laying them on the floor, I'm not really sure what exactly you are photographing them on, but I see that there's a little bit of a distortion factor going on here. So I recommend taping your drawings to the wall and setting yourself up a specific distance from the wall and propping up your arms with your camera or your cell phone, whatever you're using to photograph, so that you are holding your camera exactly at 90 degrees and the image is squared up. The paper is all squared up so there's no distortion. In addition, you should have two strong lights, one on either side at 45 degrees towards the image, and I'll post a little diagram showing you how to do that to light your work up evenly so that you don't get these like changing in color across the size. Anyway, in addition to that, once you've photographed your images, the first thing you're going to need to do is trim them. So you're going to need to crop them down. You should also be writing on every drawing that you do, every figure drawing you do. I want you to write the amount of time you've spent on it. And I don't mind if you write it on afterwards in Photoshop or if you write it on by hand. Either way is fine. Once you've cropped it, you need to adjust the lighting. If your lighting is good when you take the photograph, you won't need to do this. But if your lighting is dark, like this is, with low contrast and hard visibility, then you need to use the levels. So levels is accessed through adjustments, levels. And as you can see, all the pixels, this is a histogram. It shows you where all the pixels are located, and they're all crammed together right here in the middle. So you can try auto and see if that helps. I don't think that's enough, so I'm going to pull the top down to brighten it and pull the bottom up to give more contrast. Now you do run into the problem of getting a bit of artifacting going on here. You see this weird color thing that's going on. That's unfortunate. That can be remedied possibly by taking a better photograph in the first place. But if you get the strange color, then you're going to need to take out that color. And you do that by going to Image, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation. Strip the saturation right out. Your image is still really dark, and that's partly because you're using a pencil on not white paper and it's not being well lit. So I think you can improve the image capture in the first place, and then you won't have to do so much adjustments to it in Photoshop afterwards. Once you've done all the adjustments that you can do, you might try one more brightness contrast, see what that gives you. It might improve it a little bit, but we're still getting this gray across the surface and a little bit of artifacting. The little pixelation that happens isn't so great. So try to take better pictures, use charcoal, use newsprint or cheap paper to do these quick sketches on, and take better photographs of them. All right, once you've done that, you're going to need to save it. So, oh, wait, before we save it, we need to adjust the size. You see it's still at 33%, which is huge. So you need to go to Image, Image Size, and get the longest dimension down to 1,000 pixels or less, and the resolution needs to be 72. Make sure your constrained proportions are on. Now it's the proper size. So we pull this up a little bit, and as you can see, it can open up to the screen at 100%. It's still a little pixelated because we had to do so much manipulation to it. So I'm hoping that you can get better photos, but it's a lot easier to see than this one, as you can tell. All right, once you do that, you're going to save as JPEG. Give it whatever name you want because it's just a JPEG. And you're going to be making a PDF out of it. So save it somewhere you can find it. And you can adjust this settings so that your file is down. It's still a good quality, but around 200, maybe a little less, especially if you've got 30 images like we do here, or 25 or whatever the image is, number 20 images, then save that. All right, that one's done. We can get that out of the way. Oh,